and the topic is tourism. So we changed things around. We had an energy panel in between. The panel members had to leave, and so we just did a slight shuffle. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a networking session at 6 o'clock. There is arrangements that are being made for networking, a cocktail, and so the sooner we can get the panels over, we're almost over the line, and then the fun begins. All right, while Ms. Fikile is getting her panel ready, can I request for our next moderator, Mr. Sonwabo Mdwaba, to be prepared to go after the next panel? And we will be combining leveraging digital solutions with AI data collection. So we'll combine, our moderator has negotiated 40 minutes, 2 for the price of 1. All right, our next panel, Ms. Fikile. Ms. Fikile Hlatshwayo is the Global Tourism Chairperson, Circle of Global Business Women. And may I ask that you introduce your panel members? And the topic is enhancing tourism resilience through regional cooperation, facilitating investment and market access in Africa. We have talked about tourism, and I think the focus for this session is particularly around market access. Thank you, Fikile.
Thank you, thank you. Halala Africa tourism, halala. Halala Africa investment, halala. Halala CGW, BW, halala. Yes, that's how Africans celebrate greatness. Yes, and I'm so happy. I'm coming just after you have stretched, so I have full attention. Africans, when are we going to stop celebrating resilience? When are we going to stop celebrating resilience? When are we going to start celebrating prosperity? Should I say that again? Let it sink in. When are we going to stop celebrating resilience and start celebrating prosperity? I'm so happy, the panelists that I have selected from a database of 500 speakers. I went through all the bios and I said, you know what, today I want to bring a treat. I want you to have a treat of experts in objectives that I've crafted that will lead us to prosperity, to embracing prosperity. Tourism, we know, not only it's a backbone, but no other sector or no any sector will thrive without prosperity in tourism. So today, the topic itself, it talks about Africa tourism resilience. And I did that deliberately because I wanted to amplify the message of prosperity. And then the objectives that I've selected, 4 objectives, 4 panelists. Objective 1, we're looking at infrastructure development, which was thoroughly covered. So I'm not going to go into that. Then objective 2, we're talking destination marketing. Now that's where the problem we have. That's why today, I don't know how many years of freedom in our political freedom, who are supposed to be in charge of creating lucrative environments for us to be able to promote ourselves. They're not doing that. That's why we're still perpetuating a narrative of a dark continent. But how come a dark continent is attracting all these investors from all these other continents? Because there is something that we have to offer. But are we positioning it well enough for us Africans not to believe that we have a dark continent? Today we're going to be talking about it. You'll hear a specialist in destination marketing. Objective 3, we're talking, let me put it this way, inclusivity and sustainability. But these are not well defined. You talk inclusivity, but you're not understanding the crux of it. And that's why I selected 3 panelists who are women. And I hope that by the time they leave the floor, you'll invite them in your boardrooms because they will fast track that impact that you want. And then we've got a gentleman, very strong, powerful man. I said, no, he will be a good balance. And I did that intentionally so to drive the message that women, we cannot do it alone. We need the support of our men. They've been in the game far too long for us to expose of them. Bring them and let's collectively thrive on the power of unity. The key thing that takes Africans far behind is the division of power. And that's why other continents are thriving on us, because we are divided. When you divide power, you divide your strengths, and that's where we are now. Objective number 4. Now this one is more interesting. Objective number 4, you want to attract tourists, but you're denying them of what they want. You're denying them of what they want. Things have evolved. You need to study your market. Things have evolved. People are coming from New York. They come to Sandton. You think they'll enjoy Sandton? No. But they come to Sandton. You take them from Sandton. You show them. You have to show them that we do have Sandton. We are not a jungle. You have to show them what we have, what we're capable of doing. We have 7 stars, not 5 stars, 7 stars. Hotels that even you can't get them in Paris. Here in Africa. Then you take them to where they want to go. And where they want to go is authenticity. They're hungry for our culture that we shy away from. I loved the madam, I'm going to call you a white madam. The fact why I'm calling her a white madam, she said, we Africans, we are shying away from being African. She said, and I looked at myself, I felt embarrassed because I should be looking like an African queen. Look at our model. I should be looking that stunning. And I should be walking with pride. But here I am, looking like a black lost Western, I don't know what. Now, for us to thrive, let's use our, I don't know how you call it, English at times does fail me, but our strength, which is our culture, and that's what the tourists want. They want to come and enjoy the flavors of our local communities, the flavors of our local cuisine. They want to indulge and immerse into our different, vibrant, and we've got everything. We've got everything. I do tourism, rural tourism product development. We've got, I mean, it's just wild what we can offer, but we are denying, and that's why we are not prospering. So without further ado, let me call upon since time I've been told, my panelists. I'll start with objective 1, infrastructure development. Please welcome, and please give them a warm welcome as they come on stage. Welcome our CEO from Lesotho Tourism Development. He possesses a wealth of experience in leadership and economic development, with his leadership infused with a combination of deep understanding of economic dynamics and operational expertise. He drives the organization's commitment to become responsive and engaged through initiatives that forge its vision of turning Lesotho into a destination of choice for travel and tourism investment. Can we give him a round of applause? Destination marketing. Welcome, Ms. Diana Martin, a seasoned marketing leader with over 30 years of experience in hospitality and tourism industry spanning 3 continents. For the past 13 years as the GM of marketing and promotions for the Northern Cape Tourism Authority, she has propelled brand Northern Cape's growth by spearheading innovative marketing strategies, forging key partnerships, building a robust online presence, and leading impactful campaigns. She strengthened Northern Cape's positioning as a desirable leisure and competitive business events destination, both locally and internationally. Number 3, Ms. Nicolette Matuku is a multi-awards winning development specialist, thought leadership expert, and media and branding practitioner. She's a Mandela Washington Fellow 2024 and Presidential Precinct alumni in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. She is a nominee of the 40 Under 40 Influential Young. Let me repeat. Maybe you didn't hear that. Young. And that's the reason I brought her, because we never ever bring youth into these rooms. Yet we're talking about youth sustainability. So I said I wanted a balanced panel where youth can speak, they can speak for themselves. You're going to listen to her. She will tell you what youth needs for them to prosper. Last but not least, my good doctor, Dr. Bambuyi Kumede, a senior lecturer and the head of department in the program of cultural and heritage tourism at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban. She holds a PhD in cultural and heritage tourism from the same university, specializing in coastal and marine tourism management. Her research interest lies in marine tourism governance, tourism management, culture and heritage tourism, sustainable development, land reform and restitution, gender inequalities, social stratification, goodness. Migration, mobility, and refugee studies, as well as environmental studies, with special reference to community engagement at UKZN. And she's a champion for the College of Humanities We Care program, as well as the School of Social Sciences Staff Wellness Program. She serves in various committees within the university. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite on the podium Mr. Peku to speak on infrastructure development. I know we have prepared our session, but we'll have to cut, please, highlights so that we can give other panel the chance. So please, yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon. If I was sitting there as an audience, I would simply just say, church is out. I think she has said it all. Nonetheless, for the longest time, we have attracted, as Africa, tourists from across the world. And if you speak to anyone who's not from Africa, when they come to our continent or how they interpret our continent, they say, we're going to Africa. They never say we're going to Lesotho, never to Uganda, never to Ethiopia, never. They are going to Africa. Africa, why can't we take advantage of that? Because the perception has already been laid for us. Ours is just to run with it. We are Africa, after all. So the challenges that we face in this continent are most or probably different from those that the Western countries face. We talk about climate change, we talk about conservation, we talk about our natural habitat. It is actually what makes us thrive. Whereas in other countries, it is just a normal day, a livelihood. For us, it is where the big bucks are. Because remember, it is our beaches, it is our big five or big many animals. It is the beauty that they come to see, that they do not possess. And I'm talking about Africa. So we really need to take advantage of this that we have and start taking care of it. So I'd like to say to you, and I'll be a bit theoretical today and say, we have 4 C's that can help us to address these uncertainties that we live with. And the first one is commerce. So in commerce, we still have not been able as Africa to connect through business, through infrastructure, so that we are able to harness the numbers that come to Africa. I'm not going to delve much into air connectivity, all these things. They've been mentioned many times. But the challenge is that it is much cheaper to travel from South Africa to Europe than it is from South Africa to Uganda or to any other African country. So therein lies the challenge. It is because we have not mapped our infrastructure and commercialized it in a way that works for us. I'll go to the next C, which is conservation. Again, if we do not take care of our natural resources, water, electricity, waste management, all these things, we will find ourselves not being able to take advantage of the beauty that Africa has been presented with. It is just there. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to craft or artifact. It's there. Let me make you an example. Lesotho. Lesotho has the highest, lowest point. Highest, lowest point in the world. And I bet none of you know about that. Highest. So Lesotho is the country that has its lowest point is the highest.
Harvard English.
Let's make it easy. Durban is at sea level. So you understand when they say sea level, it means it's the lowest it can go. Now, Lesotho's lowest point is the highest in the world. What a wonder. And that point is there in one of the corners of the country. And we have not made use of that for people to appreciate, whether it's geography, whether it's educational, but to expose it so that people appreciate the beauty. That is what I wanted to tell you about. So we need to conserve these attractions so that they live for us. Because with soil erosion, with the challenges that we have, they will quickly erode all these opportunities that we have, and we'll find ourselves in a fix. The third one is culture. Much has been said about culture. You come to South Africa at the airport, you see people dancing, showing off. You go to Uganda, Kenya, you see people dancing. What does that mean about us? It means there's a certain way that we communicate. Music. But music just doesn't go alone. It goes with rhythm. And I can tell you, if you like comedy and you've listened to Trevor Noah, he says there's something about an African woman when she dances. It's like, ugh. That culture, we need to ensure that we preserve it. Because our kids, these Gen Zs, and I'm part of them, they don't understand this culture. But this is exactly what people have been coming to this continent to appreciate. What we then need to do is to package it in a meaningful way that it sells. Because normally there is a small plate there at the airport, people are dancing, you throw in $1 or $2 or 20 rands or however the denomination. We really haven't made good use of our culture, but it is a strength that we have. So let's really use it to ourselves and promote it and show the uniqueness that Africa has.
In rapping.
Or in rapping. Oh, Iban. So quick. So the last C is community. And this is where I started. We have not defined ourselves in Africa as a community. We continue to describe ourselves as single countries or entities. And so that makes us, or that weakens our strength. We are unable to market Africa as a destination because of the singularities that we remit. It's time we change the narrative, we intertwine, and we tell them, come to Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Destination marketing, Miss Diana Martin.
With 1,000 words, so mine is all about pictures. So I'm going to share with you today how the impact of a creative, agile, and effective marketing tourism strategy is really leading to the growth of tourism in the Northern Cape. So you can see my presentation? Yes. So the Northern Cape is unquestionably South Africa's most beautiful and natural province and offers a diverse tourism experience for exploration and discovery.
I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Okay, there it is. It's fine.
Please.
But if I can ask the people at the back if you can change my slides, please. Anyway, so we continue to the next one. So the Northern Cape is the largest province of South Africa. Yes, we are bigger than Germany. And because we are bordering Namibia and Botswana, there's great opportunities again for partnerships that we have, not only with the Namibian Tourism Board, but also the Karais regional municipality. And we have really great experiences that is bordering both of the Northern Cape and Namibia and our partners. So what is so special about the Northern Cape? We have signature experiences. We have heard everywhere there must be differentiation, and some of these are also in the Northern Cape. We offer a desert and safari. Culture heritage is the cornerstone of what we do. We have 2 World Heritage Sites, one celebrating and preserving the culture of the sun, which is on the Namibia border or the Botswana border, and of course the Nama people that is on the Namibian border. But before we can really start with a marketing strategy and a campaign, we really need to know where we are standing. What are our weaknesses, strengths, and what are the opportunities available? So people always say, oh, but the Northern Cape is too big, it's too large, and it's not really great infrastructure. But yeah, what does it give us? It gives us an exclusive, off the beaten track, and the authentic experience. Then we also have continued straight from other destinations. We have a limited budget, so that is again opportunities. And especially after COVID, we were the very first destination that went into digital marketing campaigns. It was all over the world, and then others followed. So we really capitalized on the digital innovation, ecotourism, unique cultural experiences to drive growth, and as well to deal with our limited budget, great partnerships and collaborations. So understanding our consumer insights, our competitor analysis, market segmentation, all this helps us to craft our plan to really ensure market penetration, destination desirability, and increase visitor arrivals. So they are just some of the things that we're looking for. We're looking for segments, so urban adventurers, family explorers, special interests. Then, of course, we are a leisure and a business events destination, and please people, MICE has gone long ago. It's called business events. So that is also there, and then demographics, everything, and then each year, consumer insights and marketing trends change. So every year, we look at these things and then craft a campaign for that year. So you also have to differentiate yourself in the market. So in the Northern Cape, it is our special brand experiences and pillars of real adventure, real nature, and real culture. And everything of our campaigns is underpinning this. And of course, if you haven't seen this or been there, the vast landscapes of the Northern Cape, the year after COVID, we had the 2nd largest arrivals of international travelers to the Northern Cape because they all escaped the cities. So it was indeed very good for us. But how did we go about it? So we're looking at engaging content that really resonates with our target markets and segments, the elements that is part of it, the campaigns, like I said, it's underpinned by the pillars, and then what is the outcomes that we really had? So we really created very compelling stories that is really finding resonance with our markets. We use very high quality material, videos, visuals, et cetera, that really drives that further engagement. And we make sure that we have a very interactive platform where we leverage and of the experiences of our clients. And of course, all of that is not going to work if we don't have effective marketing channels. So some of the channels then that we are using quickly, we use, of course, traditional print or traditional marketing. It's print, media, TV, and advertising and editorial. And these are engaging content to reach a broader audience, to really also get brand recognition. And as you will also notice, there are 2 different logos on my work. So the one is the Northern Cape, which we use in South Africa. And because we sell South Africa internationally, we're part of South Africa, we use the brand South Africa logo. So that is why we have different logos. Otherwise you think, why do you have 2 logos? So you will see also in all the material that we produce, we work on our pillars and we are promoting the landscapes, we're promoting our cultural experiences wherever we go. And each year we change our campaign name because the people's desirabilities changed. And for editorial also, when we are hosting, we spend quite a lot of budget on hosting journalists, but the return on investment is huge. Last year, we reached multiple million people, and the return on that investment was also multiple billions that we get. So you can see, again, engaging content everywhere we go. Then digital, the website is the most important here, and that is the backbone of all our social media campaigns.
We're wrapping up.
And then it is there. So it's blogs as well, e-newsletters that we're using. social media, is that especially for engaging the younger people, we use X or Twitter as it used to be. YouTube was our oldest channel, and we still have thousands and thousands of people are viewing that. And then, of course, again, collaboration and partnerships. So we always do this because we leverage of their platforms and campaigns to extend our reach. And then we also have bigger market penetration. So with Rough Guides, it's an international marketing platform. They really focus on all the English-speaking markets. And then with lastminute.com, it's a huge online travel platform, and they are in 40 countries, 17 languages. So we really use this collaboration to get to our European markets. And then because we are a very outdoor adventure destination, we are partnering with Dirty Boots, and they are selling us as an adventure destination. And then you can see again, we're using all our brand images. And then in the Belgium and the Netherlands markets, French and Dutch speaking, we are working with SITS Multimedia. But now, what all this work, what does it do? So, the contribution by travel and tourism sector of the Northern Cape to the provincial GDP in 2023 was the highest yet recorded. The overall contribution to GDP grew at 36% from 34.5 billion to 3.3 billion. And then we've seen impressive growth, especially in the domestic travel, where more South Africans chose to explore their own country. And this positive trend was especially pronounced in the Northern Cape, where we have grown our domestic arrivals to the Northern Cape with 81%. The increase in domestic spend was 35%. Our international spend and arrivals was also good. The international visitors stays the longest time in the Northern Cape. So they stay between 13 and 15 days. So of course that also then leads to our high bed nights. We had a 123% increase in our bed nights and a 37% increase in international spend. But we're also a business tourism destination, so we have seen a 79% of increase in our business events, and especially leisure tourism is very important. By hosting and supporting leisure events, we create temporary jobs, and we have created more than 1,700 jobs. There was an increase in the visitor arrivals of 39, and they contributed 155 million. So there's also now, yes, we are delivering on our objective, what is to grow, but it's also good to be seen in the industry and to be acknowledged by your peers that you are doing really a great job. I will miss the first one, so the very important one to us.
We're wrapping up.
One more. 2 sentences. Most Compelling Tourism Story Award for World Travel Market Africa. We won the Silver Award for the Best International Destination Video, and these two is the ones that I'm particularly proud of. We won the Outstanding Africa Tourism Media and Marketing Award, promoting Africa as a desirable tourist destination twice, and that is by the Africa Travel and Tourism Leadership Forum. The first year we were the winners, and the second year we were the first runner-up. So, all of that gave us really great engaging campaigns, and it results in what we wanted to, growth of the destination and arrivals, but in a sustainable and responsible way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, Ms. Nicolette Matuku. Youth participation.
1, 2, okay, you can hear me. I'll try be as brief as possible. So I will be talking about the role of youth development and empowerment in tourism. And I am proudly Zimbabwean, and in our language we say, Chitrachiri Murutsoka, which means you have to travel to learn something new, right? So I just want to share with you, I'm a development specialist, and tourism is only a part of our business, but I'm wearing my tourism hat today. And I wanted to talk to you about what tourism has done when it comes to our youth in Africa. So a few years ago, I had Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Meta, talking about how he was going to use digital media, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, to have people spend time and meet online. And I thought it was impossible, because I was like, how are you going to spend 10 hours online and meet people? But look at our young people. I work with young people, I live with them. And I would like to say, in as much as digital media is good, it has destroyed our generation. We are a development agency. We don't deal with psychology, but I wanted to talk to you about a program that we started that we call Africa Tourism Psychology. That is us working with parents and young people to get our young people away from their devices. Because while it is good, we have had young people as young as 11 watching and being influenced to watch pornography as young as that. And we have had a rise in suicide and depression as well, because they spend so much time on their devices, they overthink, and they don't solve problems because they're cooped up in their rooms. So we started to work with tourism organizations to get children and the youth out of their bedrooms and away from their devices and experience. And when I talk about tourism, I'm not talking about going to the Maldives or Zanzibar. It's just going to a local restaurant, to Rocco Mamas, to Spur, where they can meet other young people and be children, be young people. Just play and make sure they don't miss that part of childhood. And change the narrative. Have them be proud of their own local tourism, domestic tourism. So when I look at tourism with young people and how we can empower them, as parents, as sisters, as aunts and uncles, let's start by what we call Africa Tourism Psychology Change. Let's change the narrative by getting our young people out of their rooms. Right? Thank you. Secondly, when we talk about youth empowerment, I think it's a two-way thing. We need empowerment from the government, from investors, but us as young people, we need to be ready for those opportunities, right? What are we doing to upskill ourselves so much that we are ready for those opportunities? Are we upskilling ourselves? I always say, investors and government jump onto a moving train. What are you doing to show the investor that you are ready to get that investment? To be able to travel in Africa, to be able to get the government partnering with you or different organizations partnering with you. Let's upskill, let's research. Again, I go back to Google and YouTube. Let's use it the right way. Let's be ready to receive those opportunities. And since I'm rushing, I'm going to talk about these facets of tourism that we focus on. Agri-tourism, there's no tourism without food and culinary experiences. So these are the facets that we want to look at. We have over-flooded young people, not to take away from it, but young people making ornaments, selling ornaments. Can we start investing in real spaces in tourism where our young people can get sustainable businesses over time? And let's mentor them. So agri-tourism, our young people need to start investing in agriculture and how we can translate that into tourism. Business tourism, I think business tourism is responsible for the stamps in my passport because I've experienced almost 30 countries in Africa through traveling for business. And whilst you are there, you then experience all the land forms and luxury travel, but business tourism as well is a facet that we should look at for young people. Edu-tourism as well. We learn through tourism. I think when I went to Egypt earlier this year, we did the pyramids, but we took almost half a day just touring the New Cairo, and it gave us perspective on how we can build world-class African cities through seeing. So edu-tourism as well is important. I was in Lesotho just 2 weeks ago, and we did the Katse Dam as well. It's edu-tourism, learning through seeing, right? Creative tourism. Creative tourism. I always talk of Maxhosa. We are so quick to have our African fashion brands be showcased at Fashion Week in Paris or in New York or in Washington, D.C. If I had the powers in Africa, I would restrict that to having all those fashion houses come to Africa and experience it in Africa. We have had all our fashion ideas being incorporated in your Louis Vuittons, your Gucci, yet they started in Africa and they've been sold out there. Let them come and experience it at African Fashion Week in Sandton.
Wow. Mr. Nkube, this is for us. We're bringing fashion here.
Here, yes. So I had so much to say, but with my last, I think my last point, how we can empower young people is through funding. May our governments fund us sustainably and not only to tick the BEE box. May it be sustainable so that when they empower 10 young people, they don't keep giving them money. Next year, they should be on another level. We should be taking another 10 young people. Let's also teach our young people financial literacy. And let's see tourism as a business and not luxury travel as well. It's a business. So I think that is all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Dr. Mabui.
To you, moderator, to the dignitaries present here, the organizers of this insightful event, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I consider myself a self-appointed rural tourism ambassador. And the reason behind that is because I believe that charity begins at home. And again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. I am a product of the rural areas. And I feel like rural tourism has not been realized, not only in South Africa, but in the African continent. What we do not know, in fact, we do know about rural areas is that the rural settings have a wealth of resources, be it our culture, be it the natural resources, the rivers, hills, mountains, all those resources. When they are well packaged, they can be packaged as a product for consumption by tourists. But the thing is, have we packaged them well? I normally tell the students that I teach at the university that those rural areas that you hate so much. Why do I say you hate so much? Because I've seen them staying at residences even after they have written exams. They don't want to go home. They are saying, hey, the parents send us to fetch cows. And no, those rural areas that you hate so much, they are a world. From those rural areas, you can't be able to sustain your life. So with that being said, I feel like rural tourism has not been fully realized. Globally, tourism is perceived as a priority for rural development. And this is witnessed in the various policies that have been developed, starting with perhaps the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030, there's that Africa 2063, Agenda 2063. All these policies, yes, they are developed up there and they are cascaded down to the national department, to the local department, local communities, etc. But whilst touching on the issues of policies, when they are given to us, do we understand them? Who developed these policies? What knowledge do they have about us as people who live in the rural areas? And when they are there, we have been complaining about them being not implemented. Who is supposed to be implementing them? To what an extent is that person who is supposed to be implementing those policies equipped to do so? So with that being said, in the offices, perhaps in local municipalities where these policies are supposed to be implemented, we have seen, history has taught us that there is cadre employment. Instead of employing people who are knowledgeable about these policies, people are employed in whatever way that they are employed. And these people who are employed there, they end up not being able to implement these policies. So then moving on, as rural tourism for rural tourism to thrive, to strive, collaboration, collaboration, and more collaboration. Starting with us as institutions of higher education. It's time that we stop being perceived as ivory towers, as if we're sitting up there away from communities. It's time now that we come close to our communities, because we're also a community. The fact that those students that are in our lectures, they come from these communities. The fact that they are here with us. So it's time that even the research that we conduct, we do not just conduct the research for the sake of getting what is known as the PUs in the academic language. We hear people saying, you either publish or perish. Let us not conduct research just because we do not want to perish in the academic space. But all that I'm saying is that collaboration is key. As institutions of higher education from various African countries, how about collaborating? How about coming together, learn best practices from one another, perhaps benchmark from what we are doing, and perhaps if we can be able to come together and work in collaboration with one another or with each other, this rural tourism can be taken to great heights. Still on collaboration, established businesses, please collaborate again with those that are known as SMMEs or emerging, because we do not want to see them being called SMMEs for the longest of times. Let them also progress and be small, medium, micro, until they are like big businesses also. Still on, but again, what I like about rural tourism is that in rural areas or rural tourism, the rural people use what they have to get what they do not have. Those rural resources, they use them, if they are well packaged, they are definitely going to attract tourists to our rural areas. But again, we do not see tourists coming to our rural areas because there are so many things that are considered. They are considering their safety.
Rapping.
How? Are they safe? Because that's what they are considering. Again, for the tourists to be safe in our rural areas, what is needed is just the involvement of local people. Once local people are involved, they benefit from this rural tourism, and they are involved in decision making, and they are going to be ambassadors of this rural tourism, and they are going to make sure that there is no crime in these areas. And when we do not see any crime in these areas, we will see tourists coming in. Then the issue of skills. Yes, the rural people, they, one person talked about our rural mothers making arts and crafts, and yes, they are good at doing that, but they need other skills also to succeed in this tourism sector. Do they have management skills? Do they have marketing skills? Do they have those kinds of skills? Again, we are living in the era of innovative solutions and technologies. Are they ready? Are they there already? So government collaboration again, established businesses, assist them to be in that space whereby they are also in the technological space where they can reach the bigger market. And in conclusion,
Thank you.
okay, the Africa we want to see. Yes, the Africa we want to see. Okay, we did say that, this was said, as Africans, it's time that we stop being consumers, this, consumers, that, consumers, that. Let us be producers. Allow our rural people to be producers. Allow our rural people to be consumers of the things that are produced there, so that to avoid economic leakages, the income or the money that is generated in our rural areas, it needs to circulate in our rural areas so that we can be able to strive as rural.
Thank you. Are we allowing any questions? Because I really like interactive. So with the other panel. Okay, I just want to mention to all of you that CGBW is sponsoring you with my book, which I have my email in it. If you like to interact with my panelists, you can go through my email when you get your book and enjoy reading it and sharing it. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If I had, if we had more time, we definitely would engage more. I think tourism, for me, it's one of the, we talk freedom. Being able to go where your heart desires without restriction is a mechanism for wellness. It's a mechanism for pouring back into yourself. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic session. And I mean, you saw the passion radiating from the panelists. Another round of applause for them, please. All right. One more panel before lunch. I only played that music so that we can at least squeeze in one more before lunch. I know it is the time of the afternoon, and we should have been replenished from a nutritional standpoint by now. All right, so I'm going to introduce Sonwabo. Mr. Sonwabo Mdwaba. He's the founder and president of Pan-African Information Communication Technology Association, which is PAICTA. Now, Mr. Sonwabo has got a very tough job ahead of him today. He's going to combine two topics on one panel. The first one is leveraging digital solutions to trade and finance business competitiveness. And the second one is AI for data collection. And AI touches absolutely each and every one of the economic sectors that we have covered so far. If we want to scale, we can't do it without AI. And so he's going to frame it, and he's going to introduce his panel for us. Thank you very much. I trust you.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Sonwabo Mdwaba, as Madam MC have said. Please roll my slides. Oh, there's no screen.
There is a screen. Oh, okay. You see on that screen.
Yo. Yes.
No, it's an Evan, eh?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. H. Thank you, sir. Fortunately, as the chair said, a soldier doesn't leave his weapons, so I've got my weapon. My panelist, Ayanda, please come on stage. Mitesh, please come. Gabriel, Daryl. I think that's all. From my side, I do the most easy job. I'm going to go through quickly through slides. Okay. As we gather today, Africa stands at a critical juncture in leveraging digital solutions to enhance trade and business, competitiveness. Digital tools are not just innovations, but catalysts for sustainable growth and new opportunities across the continent. We've talked about, for the past 2 days, we've talked about innovation, we've talked about competitiveness, sustainability. It's very important. For us to build the Africa we want, I think we need to start enterprises or promote the ones that exist to ensure that there's sustainability. In the Western world or in the European world, there is generational entities or assets or capital. Do we as black people have generational? That's a question as we build the Africa we want, we need to look at. Are we taking these companies that we're building or these businesses that we're building to the next generation and the next generation, right? Today we explore what's possible, what's needed, and how we can overcome barriers. There's a lot that has been talked about in terms of overcoming barriers. And in Africa, there's an advocate who highlighted the issues on legalities, your policies and other things. I think that's the most important thing that needs to be addressed. How do we flatten? In my organization, we don't see boundaries. Let's have Africa, as the young CEO have said, let's not have boundaries. We are Africa. Let's treat ourselves as Africa, as one nation. To position Africa as a competitive force in global trade. I'm going to go through these just to give context. Mobile money, immense potential in digital trade. We're talking about digital trade here. So I've been given a very difficult task of telling everyone, if you're not digitally literate, that's a problem, right? If you're not planning to be digitally literate, that's a problem. Now, mobile money platforms like M-Pesa, I'm sure all of us know M-Pesa, revolutionize financial inclusion, unlocking billions of dollars in economic activity that we all know. There's many others like M-Pesa, but we only mention M-Pesa because of time. For instance, in 2022, Africa Internet economy contributed $115 in billions to continent's GDP, equivalent to 5% of total GDP. That's big money. Africa e-commerce sector is projected to grow to $75 billion by 2025. This is already me, I'm living in 2025. So where are we? Are we part of that as we're sitting here? Is tourism part of that as we're sitting here, where you're looking at e-commerce sector? Okay? By 2025, this is expected to surge to 180 billion. By 2050, $712 in billions. Contribution, okay? Africa is a hub for digital innovation. We are going to cover digital innovation, and the importance of digital innovation is one of the questions. With this digital economy being one of the fastest growing globally, I'm sure we know. For those that wake up and read newsletters in the digital space, you'll see how much progress we're making in Africa, but that's not enough, all right? This growth is fueled by increasing mobile connectivity, innovation hubs, investment in digital infrastructure. We need the digital infrastructure, as it has been demonstrated by many people that stood here and talked. Now, session's objectives: identifying opportunities in the digital trade landscape, overcoming challenges such as infrastructure and gaps in regulatory hurdles, highlighting essential digital tools that drive innovation and efficiency in trade. This is platform one. I'm going to read something quickly on what I've inherited a few minutes ago on collection of data, in that this is AI specific. Now, if we look at AI, if we look at AI, it's a friend and an enemy that we all want, right? If we can't embrace it, we're going to be left outside. There's a speaker that talked yesterday. There's two companies, one that is closed and one that is driven by AI. From experience in my own organization, PITA, we've done a research data collection in Namibia, built an AI solution for health, where it affects the sisters more, teenagers who fall pregnant with a risk of gestational hypertension. I'm sure that is big. Up to now, Africa had no way of establishing gestational hypertension. Basically, it's when a pregnant teenager, the body can't cope, and you go through, mothers know this, hypertension, and oxygen and blood is basically stopped from going into the fetus, and as a result, the teenager dies. That solution has been tested in Namibia. Ethical clearance has been given in Namibia, and that project has been done by PITA and finished. Now, there's ethical issues when we talk about AI, right? And a quick one, informed consent. We need to look at informed consent. Because of time, I'm not going to cover that. Privacy protection is important. Bias avoidance, transparency, accountability is important when we talk about data collection. But at least for the first time in Africa, we've got in the health space, especially the topic I've just mentioned now, we've got data sets that are African. We're not using Western or Eastern or any other continent's data sets. We're using African data sets, right? I'm going to ask my panel to introduce themselves. Please, Ayanda, can you introduce them and give a quick role and expertise?
Hi, okay, I'm good. Hi, my name is Ayanda Ngqebecha. I work for a company called Microsoft. And I work in a region, we call it, CEMA, it's Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And my expertise, are in and around the emerging technologies, specifically, the topical issue right now, which is data and analytics, and AI specifically. I ran that business for the South Africa business of Microsoft for 3 years, engaging with different set of customers, both in financial services, where I believe emerging technologies, I think, get tried and tested the most in terms of the impact and tangible engaging and connecting with customers, such as yourselves. I think we all, customers in the financial services sector, massive, consumers of these emerging technologies, including AI, including, if you look at banking and insurance, you're looking at retail. I mean, retail is probably the fastest growing user, of these emerging technologies right now, and the fastest employer of skills in this particular sector. There's something they call in the Western Cape Shopee Tech, which is the migration of skills between these two massive companies in Stellenbosch, as they try to gain competitiveness, in their sectors. So I happen to then recently have a view what's happening in the developing and emerging Europe, in Southeast Europe and Central Europe. Markets very similar, in shape and size to us, in terms of leveraging these, emerging technologies to drive those economies. And obviously, the Middle East, they're moving at a much more rapid pace than us. But the technology is the same. I think what is encouraging is that the same technology that we have access to today in Africa, it is exactly the same technology that the first world countries are using. What sort of the recent developments have done, they've kind of leveled the playing field in as much as access to the technology is concerned to drive scale. Where we're still lagging behind, I think we're going to weigh in on it a lot, is how we prepare ourselves as a continent, as a people, in order to take advantage of what's there, and what are the investments needed in order for us to be able to get there.
Mitesh? Thanks, Ayanda. Sorry, before you start, Mitesh, we've got about, introduce yourself in 1 minute, please, so that we must catch up. We've got 2 panels to try.
No worries. I don't have the clicker, so I think the media person will do the slides, right? So maybe just go to the next slide. So just as background, my name's Mitesh. I worked within industry for about more than 20 years. Worked on with a lot of global companies, including Microsoft. Worked for global GSIs as well. These days I sit on boards. So the gentleman that you met yesterday that spoke about mega projects, I sit on the board from that perspective, and also in terms of the digital business and shaping and solving complex problems going forward. So in terms of the question that I was asked was dealing with the challenges within the digital space, and where do we see those gaps and challenges, right? So I think the first space was leadership in innovation. What we often find is we don't have a lot of practical experience within a leadership structure around how innovation can be applied. And the simple way to think about it is you as an executive, if someone were to give you AI today, would you know exactly what to do with it within your business, within the value chain? How are you going to do that, right? So I think having strong experience to understand how to use a technology and then lead that vision going forward. I think also the next element as technology adopts across the continent is around cybersecurity. If you're thinking about doing payments and remittance across countries and those kind of things, you are in the digital world highly susceptible to cyber attacks, and you therefore need to make sure that you have secured your environments. In a physical property, you can see people walking in and out, but in a digital one, you don't get to necessarily see those people within your environment or that are attacking your environment. I think the next one is around youth empowerment and skills development. Coming from the tech space and also taking in skills within the market, there is a bit of a disconnect between what skills we see coming out at a tertiary level and what skills you need on the ground to practically implement technology. So I think that gap needs to be resolved. And then the next one is around private-public partnerships. I think in the previous panel, it was mentioned, in terms of collaboration. And one of the things that we do within the organization to solve complex challenges is you need to have the right partners, people that bring experience, skill with them, that have walked that journey before, so that you can get those learnings out of that. So having big players like the Microsofts of the world that are bringing global experience, and also like what Maximum Group is doing from mega projects perspective. I know like in the AI space, we didn't go about thinking how do we consume something else. We went and built our own AI engines. We built our own cybersecurity platforms, secured global patents for it. So a lot can be done locally in terms of enabling that, but you need to have strong partnerships. And the slide that you see on the screen is just about different types of partnership models. The current market operates, I would say, more in a transactional model, but there's many other models in which you can enable value in the market. These are like, for example, joint ventures, MOUs, consortium type of constructs to enable these ecosystem plays as you're going forward. So these are the 3 things that I would leave you with in terms of what I think could be resolved. We don't see as many of those partnerships being formed or formulated because there's also a lot of lack of trust within the ecosystem.
Thank you. We'll come back again.
Hey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gabriel, introduce yourself and
Hi, good day. Yeah, I can hear me. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Gabriel Venter. I was born in Zambia, and we moved to Zimbabwe, and now I'm a South African. So I'm a real African. So yes. Yeah, thank you for the time, moderator. I work for a company called Global Africa Network. We are a digital and print media company that specializes in investment promotion specifically for the African continent. We started this off, 21 years ago. In 2003, we started. We can roll the next slide. Can I carry on with this? Basically, what we do is we take real investment opportunities, we promote it to a database of just over 21,000 investors that subscribe to a newsletter we put out, and they are all members of our site. If you look at the first slide I put up there, the website is Global Africa Network. That's our homepage. And what we do on the homepage there, for instance, we've got investment, we've got projects there, we've got news, we've got SEZs specifically in there. I'll get to a slide of the SEZs now. But that's basically how our homepage looks. And what we do, I like to see the people taking photos of this because, yes, please, that's very important. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, investment projects. We've got just over 400 projects at the moment on our site. Now, these are projects that project owners come to us. We write the story on the project. We know what investors are looking for. So we package this in an investor-friendly manner so that the people can go through it very quickly, can see what it is, and what do we do at the end of the day? What do you as a user of the site want, or as a project owner? You want real investment inquiries from real investors that's looking for an opportunity to invest into Africa. Next slide, please. Okay, then special economic zones. We had to incorporate a very special feature on our site for SEZs. SEZs is a massive, massive infrastructure and investment opportunity, not only in South Africa at the moment, but the whole of Africa. We've got so many SEZs, and what we do is we had to specialize specifically. SEZs is the cash cow that we are actually gonna really make good money and good investment out of, because obviously we want to change the whole spectrum and the whole landscape of SEZs.
So, Gabriel, can you link it to the question where basically it enhances the continental global competitiveness?
Yes, to say
that including connectivity solution.
Yes, yeah, I can do that, no problem.
Not as a platform, but as a solution towards other people. Yes,
okay, perfect.
I understand your platform, but it must, so that people can relate to it.
Yes.
Okay.
No problem, I'll do that just at the last slide if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Next slide. Organizational profiles, you'll see there we've got DSTIA, for instance. DSTIA is a provincial government body in the Free State. We've got my good friend Pumla here with us. She's actually from the Free State Department of Economic Development. This is a typical project or a landing page for a entity that's with us. Next slide. Okay, and then these are the projects that DSTIA gives us. We list all these projects on this as it's there on their homepage. The next slide, please. Then you would see that's a typical project as it's over there. We write it for them. Next slide. We package the project specifically so that it's investor friendly and they can see exactly what it is. Carry on, that's fine. Okay, next slide. Okay, then that's very important. You'll see that the entities over there is the FDC, the Free State Development Corporation, which is the investment promotion agency within that province. Then they are obviously linked to DSTIA, but this is a page where the investor gets the opportunity to write. He typically puts his detail in there. He says, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm an investor from the US or wherever it is. He writes a small description on what he wants. That inquiry comes through to us. We make sure it's a real investor, and we pass that inquiry then on through to Pumla at the department, or at FDC, or at the MAP SEZ, or depending on who it is. Next slide. We can go through them quite quickly now. This is ECDC, for instance, which is the Economic Development Agency within the Eastern Cape. That's their profile page. That's exactly how their investment opportunities are packaged on our site. And that's a typical example of a project that we've got. That I can't really read them now, it's a bit far, but that's medicinal mushrooms that they're looking for investors for. Again, project description, where it is, how it goes through, and where it is in the Eastern Cape. Next slide. Okay, then this is very important. I'm almost finished. This newsletter we put into 21,000 investors' inboxes every single month for the last 21 years. This is a newsletter. They subscribe to it. It's not just spam mail that goes out. They subscribe to this newsletter. We give our clients the opportunity to showcase, depending on what package they take, 1 or 2 opportunities per month they put into this slide, into this newsletter. And what we do is we put this into the investor's inbox. He's got an idea what it is. The newsletter is called Trade Invest Africa. Although we've got a lot of clients within South Africa, obviously we started this off with South Africa. We've had a couple of the African countries with us.
Gabriel, yes. Wrap up, please.
I'm almost finished. Next slide, last one.
1 minute.
Yes, 1 minute. Okay, and if you look at that there, that's a typical response that comes in. It will either be an investor that says, I'm an investor from so-and-so, I'm interested in this project, please send me more information.